Okay, another Pokemon I want to have a look at is Zacian. Zacian has been very slept on. It's been very, very quietly ignored, even though it got a lot of attention at Worlds. In particular, the moveset of Sacred Sword and Agility. Let's do a breakdown of the meta. Now, if you want to see any of this data I'm presenting today, you just go to uniteapi.dev and you click at the top, you click meta. Okay, now what you're going to see here is a whole bunch of statistics, and you're going to see what's good in the meta and what's not good in the meta, etc. Now, if we scroll down, we can see there's a pick rate and a win rate for each Pokemon. This is honestly where I go to see what needs to be counted and what doesn't. Now, what is an absolute disgrace right now, and this was last updated on the 27th, this is updated weekly, so we'll see in a couple of days, there's going to be a new update, and I might actually do a follow-up to this video. So we can see that Mewtwo has a 58% win rate, and alongside Blissey with a 55% win rate. That's an absolute disgrace. That's crazy. It is that, like, we're talking about at scale. Everyone who plays this game, Mewtwo players will win 58% of the time. That is absolutely ridiculous. Anything above normally about 54, 55%, you start to raise an eyebrow and go, okay, at scale, if a Pokemon is consistently winning that many games, there is an issue, right? However, that's not really the core focus of today. I want to pick out some builds, some particular moveset builds that I think are being, I guess, swept under the radar. Now, but I am going to start with Mewtwo. So when you see a Pokemon, you can click on the Pokemon and it will take you to a page that shows you the win rate. Right now, the mirror win rate, that's its win rate overall, like, you know, games lost versus games won. This mirror is when you have a Mewtwo on your team and the enemy doesn't, you'll win 67% of the time. Now that is ridiculous. I think the last time we've seen something like that is at Mr. Mime, when Mr. Mime was broken. You can go down to these builds. It tells you how often the build is picked. So Future Sight and Recover has a 61.5 win rate. That is absolutely crazy, right? It's absolutely crazy. And if you pick an X attack, the win rate of that is 62%. These are ridiculous numbers, right? I've never, ever seen them this high. This is absolutely crazy, right? So hopefully we're going to see a nerf to this Pokemon relatively soon, okay? Either that or a ban phase, because if we go back, right, we can see the pick rate between Mewtwo Y and Mewtwo X is, like, what's that? Almost 80% of games they're being picked collectively. Okay, what's interesting, right, is Mewtwo Y is up here. Mewtwo X, you need to scroll. You might think, hang on, are my eyes playing a game with me? No, they're not. Mewtwo X has a win rate of 47%. What's the explanation? Maybe all the good players who were playing Mewtwo X consistently are now playing Mewtwo Y, and now the Mewtwo X is left in the hands of those who aren't as good as the game, so it's getting less wins. Potentially, I don't know. However, let's have a look at some other picks, right? Firstly, I'm going to start off with the moveset, which is the worst. You can scroll down to here. You can see the Absol has got the worst win percent. However, Pokemon with the worst win percent based on a moveset is Aegislash with Sacred Sword, Iron Head, 39 win rate. That is really, really bad. Okay, that's really, really bad. But I'm gonna show some percentages that I think are sliding under the radar. My first one would be Goodra. Where's Goodra? Okay, we can see Goodra's move sets, right? They're relatively, like, you know, 46%, 47%. That's a bit meh. But Muddy Water Acid Spray has got a 53 win rate, right? Even though it gets picked the least, which is 7.4%. But this moveset, guys, if you haven't tried it, it's really, really good. It's really fun. You know, you get the healing from Dragon Pulse, but the way that Goodra works is that he's got some passive healing on his ability and on his Unite moves. So you don't necessarily need that. Muddy Water and Acid Spray is a moveset that honestly is slept on, and the win rate shows it. Now, if you want to go one step further, you can scroll down a little bit here, and this shows you with respect to time what's happened with Goodra's pick rate, and obviously since Worlds, you know, and leading up into Worlds, this Pokemon has had a little bit of a higher win rate. And you can go down here and you can see that the win rate has spiked, and that's when Goodra got his buff, which is pretty cool, right? And you can generally see when Pokemon get their buffs and nerfs based with this time graph there. Okay, Goodra's one. Another Pokemon I want to have a look at is Lapras. Now, Lapras has got a overall win rate of 52.6%, which is honestly really strong. Lapras has been a very strong force, but the move set in particular that is carrying that is Perish Song and Ice Beam. And this is the move set we saw a lot at Worlds, right? Really strong move set. You throw on an X speed and you're going to be winning more often. So you can see people who use a potion have a 51% win rate with this move set using Lapras. It's the most picked move set. It's really, really strong. And you can see Water Pulse and Ice Beam have a pretty high win rate as well, 53.7. So generally, if you pick Ice Beam, seems to be the deciding move with Lapras. And no doubt, if you've ever faced it, it's really, really frustrating to verse. Okay, another Pokemon I want to have a look at is Zacian. Zacian has been very slept on. It's been very, very quietly ignored, even though it got a lot of attention at Worlds. In particular, the moveset of Sacred Sword and Agility, 53 win percent overall. It's an incredibly strong moveset. And look, X speed, 46 win percent. Take that X speed off, put on a full heal, and put on an eject button. You're going to be winning more games, right? So if you haven't seen this website before, or if you're looking at some of this data for the first time, drop the video a like and check out the website. It's incredibly useful information, right? Let's have a look at something like Espeon. Okay, Espeon, this is the moveset I'm strongly rating, which is Stored Power and Psybeam, has a 50 win rate. Every other moveset is, a little bit kind of bad, right? And if you whack on an eject button rather than a potion or an X speed, you're going to have a higher win rate using that. Overall, he's got a 48 win percent, but this move set is 50%. So I actually really rate this build. That's one I really, really do rate quite a lot. Another Pokemon is Inteleon. Inteleon is incredibly strong. Where's the win rate of Inteleon? It's actually, there it is, 49%. And he's got a pick rate of 21%. So he's getting a lot of usage. Right? Is there a particular build or a particular item set you want to be going for? Generally, it's Avoid Snipe Shot, okay, and Fell Stinger. Well, it's pretty much just use Acrobatics Liquidation. This moveset is incredibly fun, incredibly fun to use. And if you throw on an eject button, you're gonna whack that win rate up slightly more. So very good build there with Inteleon if you're thinking of running that in the meta in the moment. Another one I want to have a look at is Lucario. Okay, Lucario, unfortunately, against Mewtwo Y, extreme speed is not very good. However, Power Up Punch is putting in the work, and Power Up Punch with an eject button is winning more games. I dare say that's because you can reposition your close combat with that eject button, and if you use that well, you're going to put yourself in position to do good things. Okay, another Pokemon with a really strong win rate at the moment is Dodrio. Dodrio overall has got a 51% win rate, but if you are using Drill Peck and Jump Kick, are you going to be doing good things? Just be careful going into that Mewtwo Y matchup. The other Pokemon, obviously, is our Blissey, that is really strong. If you've been living under a rock, you would not realize that Blissey and Mewtwo Y are working hand in hand at the moment. And it's really the move Helping Hand, right? Helping Hand will increase your basic attack speed and anybody in that AoE. With a win rate of 58%, we've never seen Blissey's win rate this high. Okay, if we look down on this graph, the pick rate, we can see it's skyrocketing with the release of Mewtwo Y. Okay, another Pokemon I want to have a look at is a Tyranitar. Okay, Tyranitar. This is an interesting Pokemon. Okay, Stone Edge Sandtomb seems to be the moveset with an X speed. Right, that's winning 52% of games, guys. Throw on an eject button, you got 57% of games. Yes, it's got a low pick rate, and like overall, Tyranitar's pick rate is probably not too high. It got almost zero usage at Worlds, so that might be skewed just because the people who are using that moveset are playing really, really well. However, it's something to keep in mind. So you can see there is an endless supply of data that we can look into here, but generally these Pokemon that got like a below 48 win percent, you probably want to avoid these Pokemon, right? Which is like Charizard downwards here. Okay, with the exception of Goodra. Goodra is the one that's sliding under the radar, but all these other Pokemon I would probably be avoiding. Now, Zeraorc is an interesting one as well. I really like Zeraorc, but he's struggling a lot at the moment with Mewtwo Y being put into place. Okay, you can see his win rate has just dropped quite a bit. He did get a nerf, sure, but nah, it really shouldn't be that much, and that pick rate has dropped right off. Still incredibly strong, still incredibly high skill cap. But your moveset's going to be Shadow Claw and it's going to be Feint Attack. Right, another Pokemon that has always done well throughout time, throughout the entire game is Eldegoss. Okay, Eldegoss, Pole and Puff is the build that does really well, but honestly, all of them do phenomenally well. Okay, I quite like Pole and Puff and Cotton Guard with that X speed. That's the exact build that I use. It's got a decently high pick rate. It's got a pretty good win rate. It's fairly consistent, and you know, it's been consistent for a very, very long time, right? You can see it's just maintained that 52-ish win percent for a very, very long time. So really, really strong pick. Eldegoss is generally a go-to supporter for me. Okay, another Pokemon that I think, and again, this is a moveset. When I did a Zeraora build, Zeraora, you can see the moveset that does the best is Spark Discharge. 50%, 50.4% win rate. And this is the moveset I said, don't sleep on. It's really good. It's really divey, and especially with a full heal. Full heal, amazing item, right? You don't get CC'd out. It's got a lot of unstoppable and untargetable frames, and you're able to just go in there and do a lot of damage, right? You're able to chase. So maybe this is probably a Pokemon that I might pick up because it probably would be doing quite a bit of work against that Mewtwo Y. You go in with a full heal, you Spark Discharge, you jump on top of it, you pop your Unite move, you'd probably be doing good things. So Zeraora may be a pretty decent option there. Okay, so what I am going to do, I'm going to wrap up this talk and I'm just going to do a very, very brief showing. I'm going to speed it up and I'm going to put some Pokemon into a tier list without explaining a whole lot of them. Okay, so this would be my current tier list of picks. As you can see in the S tier, we've got our really strong Pokemon. We've got the Mewtwo and the Blissey combo. Hooper's always going to be a phenomenal pick in my opinion. So will Mew, simply because Mew's skill cap is just through the roof. I do think Umbreon and Lapras and Eldegoss are just absolutely incredible picks. I'm going to just quickly funnel back to Umbreon, right? Umbreon is another Pokemon that's just got a really good win rate. Right, you can see particularly the moveset Foul Play and Snarl has a really good win rate, but I personally prefer Mean Look Snarl. We saw how dominant that was at Worlds, and guys, we use an X speed on this Pokemon. I generally like to. You could also use an eject button. I'd avoid the potion. Okay, in our A tier, these are just strong picks at the moment. Garchomp, unfortunately, is probably the only Pokemon that's just a bit bugged. For some reason, nothing comes up with Garchomp, which is kind of annoying because he's actually got a fairly decent win rate at the moment. He's actually recently had a buff, so he's got 51% win rate, and he's also got a low pick rate as well. He's got like a 4% pick rate in game, so whoever's using him is using him well. Right, these Pokemon down in our D tier picks, honestly, you just get outclassed. You can't use them. They're outclassed. They're outdated. They come online too late. Whatever they're doing, something else is getting the job done just that little bit better. C tier Pokemon, similar thing. You know, they're okay. They're decent counter picks to particular Pokemon, minus Tyranitar, who just, in my opinion, will always just come online a little too late. The B tier picks, honestly, they're fair picks. Just make sure that your team composition is working well. So I would be picking anything in S, A, or B, depending on my team composition, and I'd be avoiding all things C and D.